back to the channel, guys. So today, I don't know if anybody of you noticed, but we had some comments in another video of mine. Not really a debate, not really nothing bad. Just kind of conversation. And in that conversation, we were discussing, because another commenter had said, the way my machine sits, it would outperform stock Z-Force 950. And yes, he's right. Another commenter had said that I also would have more money in this side-by-side than a stock 950 would cost. And he's right as well. But see, he had some point of views because we were going back and forth about prices. So I gave it a thought, and I figured let's make a video out of this, because I know I've had messages in the past, quite a few, not a couple hundred, but quite a few people were wondering what it took and how much that this would cost. Now, before we get started, I want to let you guys know that 90% of my machine was all sponsored by different companies, whether that was Oxbeam, Main Street Cycle, John Hester at Hester's Motorsports. There's multiple companies that had sponsored at least one item on my side-by-side. But today we're only going to talk about the rims and tires, the Stage 4 Hester shocks, the Super ATV high clearance control arms, and the tree kickers, the Nerf bars. So I made a list up here, 800 versus 950. Now, I paid $10,700 out the door for this machine when I bought it. And keep in mind, guys, prices that I'm going to tell you are what I paid. They are not today's prices. They are subject to change. On the exception of today's price on a stock Z-Force 950 Sport out the door is anywhere from $14,000 to $15,000 out the door. Z-Force 800EX out the door is anywhere from $12,000 to $13,000. So give or take $1,000 to $1,500 cheaper than the 950 Sport. So keep in mind, prices are subject to change depending upon where you are in the world or what day it is that you're watching this, what year it is. So let's, without further ado, now that my disclaimers are out of the way, and I don't want to hear people saying, well, you paid this, but now it's that much. Well, I don't control prices, but I'm going to let you know what I would have paid at the time of these things being installed. A-arms are $800 for all the way around it. Tree kickers, $299.95. My custom exhaust was $150. My tune would be $100. My tires, you can get them on Amazon for $10.80 at the time that I got them. I did not get mine from Amazon, but just saying, you could have. That was tires and rim combo. Clutch kit is $120. It was $80 or $90 plus shipping, somewhere in there, but with taxes it was about $120. Door inserts would be $234.95. And keep in mind, guys, these prices are without discounts or anything like that. These are straight from websites. Elkas, the Stage 4 Elkas, would be $2,500. So your total cost for this particular build here would be $15,984. These are rough guesstimates. We did not add shipping or taxes or anything like that. So, in the comments, you know, in other videos, some people said, well, you could build up a 950 that same way, and it may possibly outdo your machine. And now we're not talking horsepower and stuff like that. We're talking straight up trail riding, rock crawling, mud bogging, all that stuff. They're saying you could build up a 950 the same way, and it possibly outdo this or even drive about the same. And this is very much true. You could take a stock turd and you could spiff it up and make it look better, but at the same time, you can't get high clearance control arms or anything like that for the Z-Force 950. But you can get tree kickers and stuff from other websites. Now, I'm going by Super ATV prices. I could not find Super ATV high clearance or Super ATV tree kickers for the 950. So I'm going by prices that it cost me to build a 950. Like I said, this is just a guesstimate. Okay, so if you built up a Z-Force 950 with the same rims and tires and the high clearance control arms and radius rods and whatnot, okay, the same way, tree kickers, $299.95, A-arms, $800, and sorry. And keep in mind the trailing arms, I don't know what they would cost, but I'm sure they're not far off. Tune, but you can't get a tune for the 950 right now. But if you could, we'll just say 100 because that's what mine would cost. Tires, $10.80. Clutch kit would actually be cheaper for the 950. It'd be around $80. Sometimes you can get them for about $58 shipped, depending upon where you find them and whatnot. Door inserts, I actually looked those up, and they are priced at $234.95. And the Elkas, $2,500. Again, going by what my machine would cost. And you're at a total build price with the Z950 at $20,408. So that leaves on the table. Now I got the Z950 marked at $15,000. This is rough ballpark on out the door, tax, title, shipping fees, dealer prep fees, whatever. I know some of you have gotten your 950 for 12, 13,000, some of you 14,000, and I've heard people actually a little bit above 15,000. And to be honest with you, I actually know a dealer that had one for $20,000, and all they had was snorkels and tire package. They wanted $20,000 for it. I know this because when we was out in Kentucky and my machine broke, I was making phone calls. They told me they had one. They was having a hard time selling it because of the price. So keep that in mind. Every dealer is going to be different. Every price at every dealer is going to be different. And I will say while I'm here, if you need any CFMOTO anything, make sure you hit up Main Street Cycle. Now, I'm not doing this video to say what machine would be better than what and what situation is better. And I'm doing this video to technically tell you what it cost, what it would have cost me if I paid for all these parts to build this CFMOTO, and what it potentially would cost you to build a 950 in the same manner. These are my findings, and keep in mind, I did all the labor myself, so none of this covers labor. Dealer labor is anywhere between $80 and $140 an hour, depending upon the dealer, depending upon the location that you're in. That all takes into account and whatnot. So I'm gonna let you do the adding up on the labor because I have a ton of hours in this thing, so I don't even know to begin to think of what labor would even cost for this. So there's that. But I am going by DIY price because I did it myself, and I am going by what it cost me, not what it'll cost you because you have to pay a dealer. I'm going on what it would cost me to build this. Also, it was mentioned in the comments that CFMOTO is easier to maintain than all the other brands. I have to politely disagree with that. Well, they said easier and cheaper to maintain. I have to politely disagree with that. All you have to do, look up parts for the CFMOTO, look up parts for a Razor, Can-Am, etc. These parts are no cheaper than those parts. Not unless you're buying them off of Alibaba. And anybody in their right mind isn't going to buy any parts off of Alibaba or AliExpress or anything like that. Me, I like genuine OEM parts, even if I got to pay more for it. Because as a mechanic, I've been doing this stuff for many moons. I have learned a lot of things along the way. And one of those things is OEM is 95% always better than the aftermarket. And I have to say this. When I used to build Yamaha race engines and stuff, depending upon the setup, we always kept the OEM crank, rod, and piston. Because the OEM piston would always hold up better than an aftermarket piston. Now, like I said, that's depending upon the build and whatnot. Sometimes you got to go with a bigger piston. Sometimes you got to go with a lighter piston. But we have built a lot of race engines that would take abuse in the Yamaha world with the stock pistons. And when anybody ever asks me, redneck, is there a better axle than OEM? Is there a better bearing than OEM? Is there a better oil filter than OEM? Okay. No, there's not a better axle than OEM. No, there is not a better belt than OEM. No, there is not better tie rod ends, ball joints, or bearings than OEM for CFMOTO. Now, you can argue with Polaris. They can get better aftermarket ball joints and bearings and stuff like that. Yes, there is better stuff than their OEM stuff, but they've been around longer. More manufacturers have produced parts a lot longer and came a long way and fixed flaws and just made better things. CFMOTO don't really have that option. Not right now. Not saying it's not going to come, but not right now. But I'm sure it will come. But even then, still, OEM axles, best. OEM belt, best. Maybe you could find a better bearing, maybe, but you know what? I haven't had any problems out of any of our bearings. They're all factory, out of the box. Never an issue. Just keep them greased and away you go. And don't over grease them. Check out my greasing video. So I hope that kind of sums up cost and whatnot of this build and how much it would cost to do this. Now, is CFMOTO a good machine stock? Whether it's the Z-Force 800, 500, 800EX, the 950? Absolutely, they're good out of the box. They're fine. You know, you don't have to do this to enjoy riding. I do this because I enjoy doing it. It's my thing. And be quite frank with you, I'd rather do this than even ride the thing. Yes, I love it. Yes, I have fun riding it. I have more fun doing this, building it, than I do going out and getting muddy. That's just me. This is my hobby. This is what I like to do. And if I could build different machines on a weekly basis, that's exactly what I would be doing. But I can't afford that. I'm sure you can't either. So I'm not saying don't go get a CFMOTO because you got to build it up to make it good. No. CFMOTO is just fine out of the box. Sure, they need some suspension tweaks. Sure, they need some greasing. Sure, you need to go over the bolts. But that's any manufacturer. That's any manufacturer. So, if you haven't yet got yourself a CFMOTO, go buy one, because you'll be happy with it. And if you're like me and you like building on stuff, this is the way to go, because you know what? I did all of this and we're only at a $16,000 price point. I only paid $10,700 for the machine. Now I know the newer machines are going for like 11 something, 12-ish. But other than that, they're good. They're good machines, and they're good to start out with and build with. They're fun. Build them the way you want to build them. Tinker around, watch my videos, see how it's all done, and have at it. Everything you see me do is real easy to do, guys. You just got to put your mind to it and put your tools to your hand and get her done. All right, guys. That's Ronnie in there, putting on his lift kit. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. Have fun.